What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show today. We got a special one for you. We got a crossover episode. We got a Realms of Metal and Metal Never Dies, a crossover episode today. We're hanging with Mark Aruda all the way from Canada. Mark, man, it's good to talk to you and meet you, buddy.
Yeah, you too, buddy.
Yeah, so our channels are relatively, small at this point. I don't know how long you've been doing yours, but I've only been doing mine since like January. So hopefully it'll open up the audience to your stuff and yours to mine. And
Yeah, exactly.
I got to be honest with you, I watch your videos all the time, and you got some great content. And what I like about you is you talk about records that I've never even heard of or never probably would have even checked out. Like the Gravesend that you just did.
Yeah.
Really good. And I love all that stuff. But you're actually turning me on to bands that I probably would normally not even hear of. So thanks for that.
Hey, no problem. I think that's like the main thing. I when did I start this? When I started this, it was during the pandemic is when I kind of started, and I was watching a lot more YouTube, and then I was like, oh man, like I'm not jamming with the band anymore because
Yeah.
like we're all in isolation and stuff like that.
Yep.
And so I was using YouTube to like do like covers and stuff,
Yeah.
and then whatever, maybe find some people to like jam with and it kind of record at home and or whatever, right?
Yep.
during, during that time. And then once things started opening up, I was watching more YouTube videos, and then it wasn't until like me last year was like the first time that I started doing like a review, or I did the end of the year list
Yep.
for 2022,
So what made you
right?
start it? Just sheer boredom or what?
Yeah, like kind of boredom, kind of like, yeah, just give it a try. I was
Yeah.
watching these other YouTubers kind of do it, and
Yep.
I was like, well, I listened to a ton of records. I listened to a ton of albums and everything else, like every day.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I,
maybe I could turn somebody on to something, right?
yeah, man, that's what our channels are all about. And like, I had thought about doing this a few years ago, but like, I'm kind of introverted. I got to be honest with you. And it was really my wife that like pushed me to do it. She's like, you should do it. You'll have a lot of fun. You and Anthony can do it. Anthony is the other guy that I do the channel with.
Oh
And
yeah,
yep, and he's very knowledgeable. He's a great dude, and we've been friends for since high school. And like once I got going on it, like I got a little bit more confidence, and
yeah,
I'm just enjoying it now. Like I'm just it's a hobby of mine. It takes up a lot of my time when I'm not working. But like compiling lists and doing these unboxings and these interviews that we're doing, like
yeah,
it's awesome, and it's bringing metal to the forefront. I interviewed Vincent Crowley, a few weeks ago from
yeah.
Asheron, the Vincent Crowley band. He was my first interview, and I was kind of nervous, because I'm a huge fan of his as well. And he was super cool, and he was like, you know what, you guys are the new fanzines, got channels like ours that are like
Yeah.
bringing metal to the forefront. And he's 100% right, man. And it made me look at it kind of in a different way. So, I mean, what do you think?
Oh, totally. I think it just branches off. Like we find other metalheads or people that like even like hard rock or stuff like that. Other people who are doing it, who have a great collection. You know,
Yeah.
uh, I kind of feel like back in like grade school where you kind of do like a show and tell.
It's kind of what it is,
I
right?
remember, back in the day, you used to like
Yeah.
bring your favorite toy in or something, right? So this is kind of like we get to show off our favorite records,
Yeah. Yeah.
and maybe favorite bands or like a new band or something. And
Yeah.
I think that's the way that we could connect around the world now, right?
Yeah.
This YouTube and everything else, right? So
Yeah. It's
uh,
pretty awesome.
yeah. I didn't expect that I was gonna have as much fun doing it as I am.
Right. Me neither.
Yeah. So that was the thing. I think it's just like bit by bit, I would try something different. I was like, oh, maybe let's try reviewing an album and see how that works.
Right.
See if I like it, or
Uh-huh.
because it is something different, right? So
Yeah.
it's I remember back, like again, like going back to grade school, and you do speeches and stuff like that. Like we didn't have things like this, so I mean, probably kids now are so natural at it.
Yeah.
So it takes a while to like make it feel, I guess, kind of normal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
Right? Like
I was kind of like lacking confidence at the beginning, just trying to go with the flow. And as the videos got on and on, I kind of gained a little bit more confidence in doing it, you know. So, and like I said, I'm having fun with it. And I can tell you're having fun with it too. So,
yeah, it's one thing that's like, yeah, you're uh exposing yourself, right? So it's like, sometimes you get stuck on a word or something,
I
and
know,
like
I
little
know.
things like that, right? And it's just like, who cares?
Yeah, like, and
Like,
I try not to. I don't
exactly.
edit the videos. I like the people to see like
Yeah,
my real raw reactions and emotions and stuff. And if I make a mistake, I make a mistake. I own up to it. You know, no, nobody
yeah.
knows everything about everything. You know, so
Oh, exactly.
so what are your some of your growing up? Like, what made you a metalhead? Like, what are your some of your favorite bands, records? Like, you know,
Yeah, what got me, um, I want to say, like, I guess the first was I got into like Motley Crue, uh, hair metal bands that were like that
yeah,
were on
same here.
the
Yep.
radio, and stuff like that. And then I think once uh, an a friend of his older brother played the Black album, and it was like, yeah, something different. It was heavier. It kind of lured me in, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
kind of like it's
It's
calling for you,
it's
and
funny you
it's just
say
like,
that
oh,
because
what's that,
and
right?
Justice for All was the record that lured me in. You know, so
Yeah.
like I was a
So,
casual metal fan at that point. You know, not I had some cassettes and stuff, but like once I heard Injustice for All, like it really changed me, and like it made me a serious metalhead. You know, so that was the game changer for me. You know, in '88.
oh, exactly. Yeah, I think, yeah. Once the Black album came out, 91,
91. Yep.
91, yeah. So I think that's when like the very first cassette that I bought, and then I bought the
Yeah.
CD. And once I got a CD player,
Yep.
it was still like the very first albums that I got. And then it was just like, I think like the first albums that I bought on CD, like Metallica, the Black Album was the first cassette I bought. And then like that was the first CD with AC/DC Live.
Okay.
I ended up buying as well at the same time as like a double album or whatever.
It's funny how
And then,
you don't forget stuff like that, even going way back. You know, like you remember the
oh
first
yeah,
cassettes or CDs you bought. Like you remember where you bought them, where you first listened to them, right?
yeah,
It's crazy.
it is crazy.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing. And then yeah, then I went through the whole catalog of Metallica,
Yeah.
and it was just like,
Yeah, they were my gateway,
whatever.
you know. And once I got into
Yeah,
Metallica and went and hit their back catalog at that point, then Exodus and Overkill and Slayer and Megadeth, all those followed suit, so it was just a natural thing.
yeah, that was the whole thing. Like I lived in a small town, so like that stuff wasn't too accessible, I guess.
Right.
So there's like only a handful of us that were like kind of like metalheads, like we are into like Metallica and Megadeth
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And then like once this used CD store came into town, the guy was from Windsor, so a bigger city, and so he was bringing stuff in. So then that's when like we found albums like Anthrax, you know what I mean, used CDs of Anthrax, the COC and stuff like that. And then
Yep.
we got more involved. Like, oh, this looks like a metal album. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
buy it for, I don't know, like maybe $5 or $6 at the time, and then bring it home and see if we liked it. Like Pantera, like we found a used CD of Vulgar Display of Power, and I
Yeah.
remember getting that and became Pantera fans and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it was really cool.
I was pretty lucky as a kid. I had an electronics store that I could walk to from my house. And that's where I would get like all my cassettes in the beginning. Like they had a whole metal section. And
Yeah,
like I would just go look at the cassettes and buy them based on the album cover, pretty much.
yeah.
Then I had another store on the opposite direction, a used record store, and that's where I got a lot of my first vinyls. And like that guy used to buy vinyls, like people used to sell him vinyls, right? And then me and my friends would go in there, and he would let us have piles. I would like, oh, we want this one, this one, this one. He would give us piles and let us pay him off as we
Oh
went
no
on,
way.
which was pretty awesome. Like I got my first King Diamond vinyls there, and like all kinds of stuff. It was great. And then I had a store that we couldn't walk to, but it was called Rock Fantasy. It was a few towns over,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that guy, his name is Steve. Like he, everything is metal in that store, like T-shirts, CDs, cassettes, vinyls, everything you can imagine. and he used to have like in-store signings in the beginning, like Death Angel was there and Forbidden was there and all these bands, and used to come in and do signings and stuff. And he had a lot of special things. So like I had a lot of stuff as a kid to be able to go in places and buy. So I had that luxury where I lived.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I remember because we had a small record store in town, and I think once I got more and more into it, like I remember like special ordering like Strapping Young Lads City
Yep.
and stuff like that, and I would ask them to order some of these like weird ass stuff. And they would always like look at me weird, right? And like I remember like Machine Head Burn My Eyes. I asked them like to special order that for me and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
they did it, but they were like, wow, this is like some different things. It was just kind of funny because being in a small town and
Yeah.
everybody's just getting what's on the shelf, right? What's popular
Yeah.
on the radio. So
Pretty cool. So your band, how do you pronounce it? Is Aquila? Is that how you pronounce it?
I feel that's how we pronounce it.
And what does that mean?
Uh, in the Roman times, I was like their eagle, right? So that was like their staff
Gotcha.
that they would march in the war with, and or whatever. And so the I guess like the proper pronunciation is Aquila.
Aquila. Okay.
Yeah, that's the proper pronunciation, but like I don't know. Aquila just sounds more. I guess it just sounds cooler.
I think it sounds cooler. Yeah. So I checked out your EP, the last EP that you guys did on your
Yeah,
Bandcamp. I think it's pretty fucking good. It sounds great to me. Like, and it's not a style of music that I would normally listen to, but I dig it a lot. I think it's really good.
yeah. It when we uh, when we started the band like in 2006, what was going on at the time was a lot of like metalcore. I guess you can say at the time. I mean, I asked like my drummer like if we were to pick 4 albums that like kind of helped define us in the beginning. It would easily be like Cataclysm, Serenity and Fire
Yeah.
was quite a big influence on us.
Yeah.
Lamb of God, Ashes of the Awake
Yeah.
was a big album for us at the time, and then God Forbid, Gone Forever,
Gotcha. Yep.
like their second album, I think it was, or third album, and then he threw in like The Haunted. What was the one album? It was like a very different album. The one with the skull.
I know which one you're talking about, but I can't
Yeah,
think of the records.
I haven't listened to that album in a very long time, but like
Yeah.
I remember at the time that album was a big influence on
Yeah.
us as well. So I think we kind of blended in that almost at the gates or the haunted sound with a heavier metalcore sound, and we kind
Yeah.
of blended in some groove of like uh Lamb of God into it, right? So
Metalcore is a skewed genre, at least for me, because when I think of metalcore, like the first bands that pop in my head are like Unearth, like
yeah,
As I Lay Dying, stuff like that. But then you
exactly.
hear a lot of other people call bands like Full Blown Chaos metalcore. They call Hatebreed metalcore. They call All Out War metalcore. And to me, those are
Yeah,
more like hardcore bands and not
hardcore bands.
metalcore
Yeah,
bands. I mean, they're metal influenced, but I mean, I think they're hardcore at the core of them. But
yeah, yeah.
how do you feel about those labels on bands?
Like I either way, like I loved the Hate Breed early on.
Yep.
Full Blown Chaos I was into. I That first album of All Out War is awesome.
Killer, man. All
That
Out
was
War
like,
was another band in my local scene here, like way back in the '90s. So I used to see all the time, man.
oh yeah,
It's
cool.
crazy, crazy.
Oh yeah, like that first. I remember buying that first album. I just saw the cover, and for those who were crucified, and it's just like playing that album was like it was like a little bit of like a Slayer, but with a hardcore touch to
Yes,
it, right?
totally.
So,
Complete Slayer vibe with those guys. Yep.
but I consider them like a hardcore, and then yeah, like a bit of like Shadows Fall, like God Forbid, Unearth,
Yep.
like All That Remains, whatever, Kill Switch,
Yep.
um, As I Lay Dying. I consider those guys metalcore,
That's
mostly,
me too. Yeah.
right? So, and then I mean, those albums, especially in the early 2000s or whatever, I really like those albums still. It kind of got a little bit too singy for me, and then other bands came in and became a lot more watered down. But I think you can kind of say the same thing that happened to thrash or whatever. Like things just get
Yeah.
broader, right? Other bands came in, and then it's just like this is cool, but it's like this is not cool.
Right.
And then different styles come in. The emo stuff came in. I think so when Avenged Sevenfolds came in, and I didn't like them at all. People are considering these guys metalcore. I'm just,
Yeah. I didn't,
I
I'm not knocking them, just not my thing, you know. So,
it's just not my thing, exactly, right? So, but it's like, and that's the way it happens, right? So
yeah.
then a new era comes in,
Yeah.
and then it's like it's deathcore is the coolest thing, and then it's like technical death metal, uh, you know, the next thing is everybody sounding like Meshuggah or something, right?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
just the next.
Well, you know what? Like, I don't know how you feel, but like thrash was my first love, right? So
Yeah,
I tend to go back to the bands that I grew up listening to. Like, I feel that the bands, like the newer thrash bands, are the ones I like are far and few between. Like, I like, Municipal Waste a lot. I like
yeah,
Dr. Living Dead a lot. Like I like Havoc. There's a handful of newer bands that I like, but not many. So I don't know how
yeah,
you feel about the newer wave of thrash bands, but I tend to gravitate towards the older stuff. But
yeah. Like again, like yeah, thrash is like my first love as well, and I gravitate more to the older stuff. But bands like yeah, Municipal. I was like listening today during my walk and stuff like that,
yeah,
and have a killer new band, Warbringer, uh, another killer band. There's still like newer bands that I kind of listen to like here and there and stuff like
yeah.
that. But I think
Warbring is another one. Probably Evil too would be another one for me. Yeah,
yeah, like I mean those probably are the bands I kind of listen to the most for the newer stuff.
yep.
Uh, I mean, uh, the last couple of years, I mean, death metal I've been really a big fan of death metal. I think that's what inspired me when I talked to the guys about like doing this new EP. Like I wanted it to be, I'm like honestly with my voice and stuff. I'm not a clean singer guy. I'm not, like I could do mid range pretty decently. My high screams like the black metal stuff, like whatever, are pretty good, I guess. I'm like, but I told them like my gutturals, like my let's do more like brutal death metal stuff. Let's incorporate that into our music, and
Yeah.
I think yeah, I think it worked. I think it's
Yeah,
something different.
I think you do a great job on the last EP. That's the only one I listened to, but I thought you sounded great.
Thanks, man. Yeah, so I think like I'm listening to a lot more older stuff now, and
Yeah,
I mean like again like this year has been a crazy year from death metal. Like
it has. Like,
I kind of been saying that in every one of my
how
videos.
many
It's
great death metal records have we gotten this year? The Dying Fetus, the
holy moly,
Cataclysm, the Incantation, the Obituary,
yeah,
the
it's,
Suffocation. Now, I know you reviewed the Suffocation. I haven't watched it yet, but
yeah,
I'm really digging that a lot. I think that new singer sounds a lot like Frank. And
yeah. He was great. He was
like, if you
great,
had
man.
told me that Frank was on that record, I'd have been okay. I wouldn't even have known. I got to be honest with you. Like so.
Yeah, man, what a fantastic album. I was like, I was even well, once you find out on the video, like once you watch it, because I'm not the biggest Suffocation fan. Like, it's I was never really like into him before,
Yep.
but like uh I always like kind of liked them, but I was never like into it. But this album like made me really dig it. Like,
You know what's really good? It sounds like Suffocation, right? Like if you go to
yeah,
their back catalog and listen to it, and you listen to the new one, it definitely sounds like Suffocation, but I think it has like a little bit more edge to it than the
yeah,
earlier stuff.
exactly.
The guitar tone, it sounds edgier and sharper. The vocals sound really guttural and sharp. Like, I love the production on it. I think they did an
Oh,
amazing
what
job. I
a
really do.
fantastic! Yeah, it has a bite to it. It has a more edge to it.
Yep.
Exactly. And I did watch one YouTuber, and he said, like Terrence is the only original member left.
Yeah.
So they have a
He's the only
lot of
original. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so they got a lot of new blood in them. So I think that's what incorporating that old school touch with a
Yep.
lot of new blood and a new attitude.
Yeah, and then
You know,
the second one would be Derek, right? The bass player. I forget
yeah,
what album he joined them in, but he's probably the second longest standing
yeah,
member
yeah,
at this point, right? Yeah.
exactly, yeah, exactly. Those two guys.
You ever see him play the bass? He fucking puts the bass on the fucking stage and he plays it like vertically.
Oh no, I
It's
didn't know
crazy,
that.
man. Go check out videos with Derek Boyer and the way he plays the bass. He puts it on the fucking stage and like playing it like that. It's crazy, man. It's fucking
That is
awesome.
crazy. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
But yeah, I've been a Suffocation fan from the beginning, only because like I feel like they're part of the tri-state area where I grew up in, like that New York
Yeah,
death metal thing, so I feel like they're like a hometown
yeah,
band
they're
for
right
me,
there, right?
So yeah.
Exactly. So you live in the Long Island, like
No, I actually
right
live in
now?
PA, but like I'm just a little bit
Oh,
over the border. So like yeah,
okay,
PA, New York, New Jersey, like that whole area, like
yeah,
I can drive to within like 20 minutes, so
nice.
it's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool, man. Yeah, because
But yeah,
well, I mean, like Buffalo, New York is like right across from like what's it called, Niagara Falls, right? So Niagara Falls is about an hour and a half from where I live.
yeah, that's a long ways away from me. But
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah. So it's like
I got to
yeah,
ask you,
you're over down.
you being from Canada, do you have a hockey team? You root for the Senators or what? Like, who do you root for, if anybody?
Montreal Canadiens.
The Canadians? Okay.
With Toronto being right there, like an hour
Right.
away from me.
Right. No, it's cool. It's cool. I love the like the original six hockey, and like I'm a big hockey guy, So I
Yeah,
always ask anybody who
that's
they root
cool.
for, all that stuff. So
Oh man, it's really cool, man.
yeah,
No, it's yeah, this whole metal thing. I talked to quite a few people online and stuff like that, and it's all about connecting with me, and I find a lot of cool stuff from other people, and then I try to bring in different things that I'm into.
right.
That hey, maybe somebody will like this,
Yeah, yeah.
and so
You're gonna have an audience for something, like somebody's gonna like something of what you're doing, So and
yeah,
I try to be a little bit different from everybody else, but you still have to we're still talking about the same things, essentially, but just try to be a little bit different than what
yeah.
everybody else is doing. But
Even like some older stuff, like I got into the one guy's channel, George, and he brings a lot of like 80s metal that I'm not too familiar with, and I'm like,
right.
oh man, like I'll check that out and stuff like that. Um, like what's we call it, Sabotage. Everybody talks about that album. Like I gotta freaking listen to this thing.
Yeah.
And finally, I listened to. I bought it and stuff like that, and then I listened to was it the Halls.
Oh, the Mountain King.
Yes.
Oh, it's a
Fuck that.
good one, man.
Oh man, like
And it's
I
got
was
like
like,
this kind
I
of
didn't know this album before.
neoclassical kind of vibe to it, like just different, super talented musicians, like
Yeah,
good stuff.
it is good stuff, man. I was like, yeah, I finally got into some of their stuff, and you know what I mean. So it's like, hey, everybody talks about this album, like I never listened to it before, and
Yeah.
doing stuff like that. Check out some other older stuff that I didn't listen to back then, right?
Yeah.
It's a little bit easier because now there's a Spotify or whatever, you know, YouTube Music is what I use, but like it's easier to listen to a band and listen to their whole discography and
Yeah.
distinguish if you like it or not, right? So
That's the thing. Like, how long have we been metalheads, right? All these years. And literally, we can go on the internet and find, 50 bands that we've never even heard of before. And half of them are probably very good. It's just being exposed to them, just going out
yeah,
and finding them or having them find you somehow, So it's
yeah.
crazy,
Well, it's like
It's never ending.
it's like what were you 35 years ago when actually when they came out at that time. It's like I didn't listen to this like back then. I would have loved it, right?
Yeah.
Like I love it now, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
especially at the time you're sitting in your room and you're just listening to CDs or whatever you're listening to your Walkman or whatever it is, man. And
Yeah.
I mean, you had the time as a teenager.
So
That's all I'm having.
I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I know you're busy, but we definitely got to do this again. I think this
Oh,
is
I
a
would
good
love to.
thing to talk, especially with smaller channels like ours, and
Yeah.
just get people familiar with us, your audience familiar with me, and my audience familiar with you. Hopefully, you get some more subscribers and people checking out your channel. And
Yeah, man.
you got some great stuff on there, and
Cool.
I watch your
Thank you.
stuff all the time. And
Thanks.
let's do it again, man. So,
Oh, for sure. Anytime.
all right. So
All right, buddy.
we'll see you again real soon, and I'll send you a copy of this video.
That sounds awesome,
All
buddy.
right, Mark. Good to
Have
talk
a
to you.
good one. You
See
too,
you.
man. Cheers.